Together, we can help end poverty for good.
Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis's haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 2 below. Then Tuesday, a slight chance of snow with a high of 13. Looking for a colorful, high-energy indoor experience for your kids this winter? Go Dog Go! Vapero opens this week at Children's Theater Company. Get tickets today for this joyful bilingual musical where delightful dogs drive, swim, play baseball, and race to the big dog party. That's childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on probably the coldest night ever. I think the thing that's really frightening about that is that this is actually the warm day of the week. Make sure that you take care of yourself as we're getting closer. I know people are going to be like, but Greg, you live in Minnesota. You know this every year. I hate it. Okay. Every single year. There are so many great things about the weather in Minnesota. This is not one of them. But nevertheless, it's so funny. And my guest tonight, him and his partner walked out of the station as I was finishing up. I had to put air into my tires because let's put it this way. There was none. And I drove out to the station from St. Michael, and that was frightening on its own. And so let's put it this way. The tire should have 35 PSI to it. And the back tire, for one, had 6. So, I mean, let's just put it that way. It was me being as lazy as possible because I didn't want to put air in the tires when it's too cold. But I kind of realized finally that if I don't do this, I probably will not get home. So, whatever. I want to say tonight's going to be fun. And what's going to be fun about this, I just worked out on the drive home safely because my tires were well filled. I worked out the fact that this month is the 40th anniversary of me being a fan of Doctor Who, like being a fan, being actually actively part of fandom. And I say so because on my birthday, my mom surprised me with a membership to the local Doctor Who fan club called the Whoniversity. as well as a membership to the Doctor Who Fan Club of America. I thought I had arrived. And the thing about that is that it blew my mind. And like I said, why I know it's the 40th anniversary, because I remember it was 86, and just saying my birthday is this Thursday. So it just was like, wow, so much has happened. This show has meant quite a lot to me, and I really wanted to kind of talk about it because we're getting this week into Console Room. That's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It is a local Doctor Who convention that I take part in every year. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to get to my guest, and I'm really excited. If you haven't checked out his show, you really need to. My guest tonight is John Parker. He is the host of The Gaily Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the U.S. He also hosts The Square Book Save My Life, a 2024 GLAAD Media Award nominee for Outstanding Podcast. He is the founder of the Queer Armenian Library, the world's only library devoted to works by, about, and for queer Armenians. He has helped curate in person collections of the library at Fem Library in Armenia and at Oxford University. His essays have appeared in the anthologies The Sun Isn't Out Long Enough, We Are All Armenian, and Emerge. He is a founding member of the International Armenian Literary Alliance. With his partners, he splits his time between Northwest Wisconsin and Minneapolis. Let me just say, he is also a Doctor Who fan. John, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Thank you. I can't wear these 3D glasses for long because they're giving me a headache, but I could not start the interview with them. Greg, this is so much fun. Thank you for inviting me. And folks probably won't know, so I'm just going to say it off of the top. Greg has been such a friend of the show, literally getting us out into the world at Pride festivals and National Coming Out Day luncheons and making all of that magic happen. So I'm very happy to be here as part of GhostBox Radio.
I am so happy to have you on. People in the comments are already welcoming you. Chuck out in the East Coast, welcome to the show, John. We have a community here. And, I kind of thought about this when my weird intro is playing. It's like I'm introducing John to the dark end of AM 950. You're like this is what happens when you go home. That this is the weirdos take over. After 6 p.m. after Native Roots is done, and it's like the weirdos take over. It's our little creepy music and stuff, and talk about ghosts. Now you're a part of it. So,
well, it's an interesting day because we're not going to talk about anyway. Stuff is happening in Minneapolis, and so I guested on Stephanie Miller and then Tom Hartman, and then I did my show, and now I'm here. So I'm getting the full AM 950 experience today. I really feel like I am.
You start in the morning, end in the evening, and no, it's absolutely fantastic. I see people are putting stuff into the comments, and I do want to say, folks, if you want to add to the comments, I would love to know. First of all, if you have any questions for John, and if that includes beyond Doctor Who, like the Gaily Show or anything else, you're more than welcome to put it in there. Also, Doctor Who wise, what does this show mean to you? What's your favorite episode? What's your first episode? Chuck says that 46 years here started in 79, 80, not sure which anymore. First episode was Dinosaur Invasion. Are you sure about that, Chuck? Because that didn't see. This is the nerdy part of me that's coming out, John. This is where you might just want to leave. Is the
this
part
is gonna help me?
Yeah, well, that I don't think that was available. Well, it depends. I don't think it was available in syndication until 85. But anyway, that's weird. That's a little too much, I think. So, John, there was a moment. Maybe last year, maybe around this time last year, that I mentioned I was going to do this convention that's going to happen this weekend, but I'm from last year's, and I mentioned as a Doctor Who fan, and your eyes just got really big. Your partner Jim, he kind of shook his head and just like, oh God, and and I thought, my God, I didn't know that you're a Doctor Who fan. Now that we're talking and we've been talking about this for so long, I realized that you didn't start until the new series, right?
Yeah, my first Doctor was the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston.
Did you start like right from the very beginning, like 2005 when it came back, or?
No. So I didn't have access to it for a very long time. Like where my dad's family is and where I grew up in Northwest Lower Michigan, like I grew up on like the broadcast networks and we didn't have cable. And yeah, so I didn't, and even in the early aughts, I was working in TV, but I didn't have TV at home because I was so oversaturated with TV in my public life, in my professional life rather, that I didn't like. I went home and I just would like watch movies on DVD and Blu-ray. That's how, or I would download episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's how gay I am. So yeah, I may or may not have had that entire series pirated onto a laptop that I no longer own. But I had a friend who kept telling me over and over, she's like, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Just watch it. Just watch it. And so this would have been in 2012. I think. I'm in a poly relationship, and so not Jim, Gordy and I started watching the reboot, or not? What is it called? What is the official vernacular? Like the Ninth Doctor? Is that called the reboot, the renewal, the regeneration?
They call it. I think they call it the new series. And the new series, you have the classic series and the new series. Folks in the comments, you agree that I'm saying the right thing? Because if I'm not, trust me, they will correct me. So, the new series. So you got those.
Yeah. And then it just, it's Doctor Who. It just, sort of grabs you and you go along for the ride. And so I like so many people, I guess I'm kind of cliche to say, like, I have a special place in my heart for David Tennant. And I do have a lot of affinity for him, but Chris Eccleston will always be my first Doctor. So.
Now, some crackpot in the comments, Jim Pound says, I think John is more handsome than David Tennant.
Well, Jim is incorrect on that point. So just going to put that out there right now.
Hey, you know what? Love is blind. So, that's the thing. No, you know what? I'm going to say equal. Why don't we say equal at the very least? That are
we comparing the 9th and 10th Doctors, or are we comparing?
No, I
have moved on from that topic, right?
And
wait, why don't we just fix this? Hang on, there we go. We're just gonna delete that out.
That's how it works in the new series, where you just point the sonic screwdriver at anything and it gets fixed. Back in the old days, it wasn't quite as simple as that.
Oh wait, there we go.
So how many sonic screwdrivers do you have there, if you don't mind me asking?
So I have the 10th Doctors, and then I have the 11th Doctors. I'm sorry, Matt Smith, and I believe also Capaldi as well. This one, is nice because it's a lot more functional. It just got the extension, on it. It has both of the options there. It also has this thing I don't understand. I don't remember that from the show. Like the end pops off, and there's nothing in there. I don't know if you're supposed to like hide,
your Coke. Yeah.
I was like, can I say that? This one is architecturally way more fun because you get the extension on it, and you feel like you can actually, with these. I wish I could like pick things up with the tweezers or something, or a claw. But it also has the flip back with the button. This feels very, like you're hacking into the mainframe of a spaceship or a Dalek.
You are, you look like the Doctor when you have the pose and everything. It's pretty.
That's what I love about this one. You can't not have the pose, because of how they make you hold it. If you want to, when it's extended like this, folks who are just listening on the radio, like, what is going on here? So here, let's help. It is a sonic screwdriver. It has a little button that extends it out, and there's like the little forks that pop out and a nice green light. But to make the noise and to get it to light up, there is a cap on the end that you have to flip open. And to be able to hold it, you have to be able to hold it up like this with your thumb and your palm. And so when you do it like that,
you got it down. That's impressive. That's very impressive. Do you just do that at home? Sometimes you just like. just playing Doctor Who and
when I first, so when Gordy and I were discovering Doctor Who, and I was beginning my love affair, I was beginning to accumulate all the stuff that you see here with me. And so my office, I was working at a college in St. Paul College, and my office just started accumulating all sorts of Doctor Who paraphernalia. And I did take my sonic screwdrivers in there to fix the printer when it kept breaking in our office, and when I was trying to seal the doors against administrators that I didn't want coming in there. You could see me trying to seal the doors with my sonic screwdriver, so I was putting it to good use.
They must have loved you over there.
So there was I had a lot of meetings with like students, and the students wanted them to be private, but for whatever reason, the office they gave me had one of those glass windows next to the door. And they didn't frost it, so you could see like right in there. And the way the desk was set up, when you looked through that glass window, you saw exactly who I was talking to. Like that person was sitting in that seat. So I went to our magic little printer, and I printed out a TARDIS and the exact length of that window, and I cut it out and I pasted it on there. And so it gave us the privacy, but it was also perfect because then when people would walk by the student life department, the ones who knew would be like, "Oh my God, that's a TARDIS." Some people were just like, "Oh, he's got he likes London or something. I don't know. He's into like British stuff." And the real fans, they knew. They knew what was going on.
That's like flies to an ointment, really, isn't it? When you put something Doctor Who out there, and I think anything that we love, right, that maybe we don't know, there's a lot of other people who like it. I've found over years, I certainly was that way. If I see somebody walking around with something that's Doctor Who, like, especially back for me in the 80s and 90s when you didn't really know a lot of people who watched it and you kind of felt alone, you kind of glom onto them, and they kind of have to tell you get lost because you're like, my God, you watch the show. I suppose it's kind of the same way at the university, right? Where people are like, oh, one of us, a fan.
Oh, there was my best moment of that, or recognition of it, is we were having a big union push on campus, a union drive, and I was a member. I was a leader in our union, and so it was an intense day, right? There was meetings and recruitment and all this stuff going on that you can imagine on a campus and dealing with employees. And the new business agent from the union, she was walking down the hallway, and she literally stopped, turned, and said, "Whose office is that?" And I went, "It's mine." I raised my hand, like, "It's me." And she's like, "We're going to have to talk about the fact that you're a Doctor Who fan." And we were tight for the rest of my time that we were at the union.
I believe it. Chuck in the comments says, there's a student at my school who has a TARDIS backpack, and I always comment about it. And I also have known a couple, well, really one teacher who was a grade school teacher. He was really into Doctor Who, and he seemed to kind of implement it into all of his curriculum, which that would take a lot. But I mean, there's something about some of us who really want to get people to like it. John, I want to go ahead and do this. I want to go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, I want to continue this conversation. I want to talk about the sociological impacts of the show on different types of people. I want to get people talking about Console Room. We have a lot to get through. We've only got started here. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis Trolley Tours are. But now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis's haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And as we talk about every week, every day, we talk about getting people out to the Minneapolis trolley tours. And you might be like, well, Greg, it's going to be super cold this weekend. Let me tell you, I think this is a perfect weekend to go out and check out the Pillsbury Club, where all the Minneapolis trolley tours take place from. They leave from there. That place, remember, we did the haunted Halloween from there. It was a great investigation, and it's a great location. And the trolleys themselves, they, as I mentioned, the spots, they're climate controlled. They are going to, you're not going to be cold, and you're going to be going all around to these beautiful locations. Check it out. It's going to be, it's always fun. If you don't do it this weekend, do it soon. And when you go out there, please, once again, let everyone know that you heard about it through GhostBox Radio. We want to show our partners that people are listening to what we're saying, going out to great locations. Also, this weekend, Console Room is going to be happening, and that is over by, I believe, the Bloomington Hilton. And this is going to be a lot of fun. We have some big guests coming out there. We have probably the big one we talk about is Joe Martin, who played the fugitive doctor starting in the Jodie Whittaker era. We also have Daphne Ashbrook from the 1996 Fox television movie, and we have Wendy Padbury, who played Zoe in the 1960s. It's going to be a great weekend, and John Parker here from the Gaily Show is here to kind of just get us in the mood, talk about Doctor Who, and just celebrate something really fun like that. And folks, the Gaily Show is on daily on AM 950, 2 to 3 p.m. Check it out, as well as WCPT in Chicago. What time is that on again, John, over there?
This time, so don't watch it.
It's on right now, actually. That explains why the numbers are dwindling rapidly. Yeah, okay. Well, but you know what? It's also available as a podcast. It's out there. And folks, I just want to let you know too. It doesn't matter what walk of life that you're in. Just watch and listen to the program. It is so insightful, thoughtful, well put together, and it's going to help you think differently in a really good, positive way. So hats off to you, John and Jim, your executive producer, your partner. You guys do a great job. It's been really cool to see, and you're coming up on have you already hit your 1 year anniversary of going daily?
We have this month.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, it's a crazy first year.
It is, but here's to many, many more, because people need this show. So please, I'm really happy to see all that you've all accomplished. So we got a non-Doctor Who question in the comments. How dare they? I think this is a great question because you have quite the broadcast career. And you've obviously done the podcast. This queer book saved my life. Chuck asked the question, what made you get interested in podcasting?
Oh, that's a great question. So yeah, I started, let's see, how can I do this quickly? I started life in television broadcasting, entry level position at my local NBC affiliate. Literally just, walked in the door and said, "Can I apply for a job?" And they were stupid and said yes. And then I stayed
Is that
there
what you
for
sounded
8
like
years.
back there?
Mhm.
Is that what you
Yeah,
sounded like
that was
back then?
I was
Wow.
literally 18 years old. Like
you
I had
were a
no business.
You're a Mickey Mouse impersonator.
Yeah, I had no business walking into that television station and getting a job. I have no idea what they were thinking. But, I had no training, I had no qualifications, and next thing I knew, they had me standing behind a camera in the studio, pushing it around. So I was like, oh, what? But, I stuck with it, and I kind of climbed my way up the ranks and did it for 10 years. Got out of that, moved into higher education because the business, this was like 2008, right? So the economy crashed and TV stations were just going under and all of my friends were getting laid off. And it was like, okay, I can't take this anymore. And so I left and got into higher education and was basically in that for 10 years and just started I found myself wanting two things. I wanted to do more work within the queer community, and I wanted to get more back into the experiences of broadcasting, and podcasting itself created a very low tech barrier, right? You need a high quality microphone, you need a decent laptop, you know what I mean? Good pair of headphones, and then the know-how of how to get around the technology and record and edit and all that stuff, which I really enjoy doing. So that's where the podcast came from, is kind of a merger of wanting to get back to that skill set, wanting to do something with the queer community, and having a lifelong love affair with books and wanting to find a way where I could talk to books and authors and all of that. So that's where the podcast came from. And then Jim set up a meeting with AM 950, which I remember at the time going like, what? Like, why are we talking to a radio station? We're a podcast. Those things have nothing to do in common, right? So naive. And the president of AM 950, Chad Larson, got the show from the beginning, like understood what we were trying to do, was a big fan of it, and was like, hey, let's put it on the station. And I went, oh, okay. So we did that for a year. And then because it was a podcast, it didn't fit right into, because I was just, I'm like a timey-wimey, you know what I mean? Like a time is whatever I make it, you know what I mean? It's whatever we make it in podcasting world or on streaming. So we don't have to fit these rigid little boxes. So me trying to shoehorn my timey-wimey podcast into a 30-minute slot and then a 60-minute slot was really hard. So we created the Gaily show as sort of a, for lack of a better word, filler show. It was meant to fill time that our original show, This Queer Book Saved My Life, was not taking up, right? So some episodes would be 5 minutes, some episodes would be 17 minutes, etc. And it just sort of caught on, you know what I mean? Like at first it was just me talking about queer culture, and then publicists found out about it and they're like, can we book an author on there? And then a theater company was like, can we book a person on there? And then it just started to literally grow out into its own show. And again, Chad saw the potential in it, Jim saw the potential in it, and they were like, do you want to make this bigger? Do you want to take it to a daily program? And I said, no. I said, absolutely not. And then the world changed, and I said, okay, yeah, there's no one doing queer news on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So in the country. So I said, okay, how can we do that? Where can we fit that niche? How can we bring in other partners? So like we do official news partnerships with LGBTQ newspapers in DC. We've got their White House correspondent coming on. We've got the managing editor from the Windy City Times in Chicago, the managing editor from Dallas Voice. Like I'm trying not to just make it about me, but highlighting good quality queer journalism, and how do we being the royal we, if you will, of allies and queer folks kind of try to make the world a better place. So
I think that's amazing. And a couple points to that. I just have to point out every time someone mentions Chad, Chad is such a humbling person that you're not going to really he's not going to ever blow his own horn about the champion he is for all types of people. And that is something that it makes him such a wonderful person. And you and I both have worked in broadcasting for quite some time. I to show how old I am with broadcasting. The station I first worked at, we couldn't do the news one night because of the O.J. Simpson chase down the freeway. So let's put that into perspective. And so you get people who have a lot of different agendas running stations and whatnot. And I always tell people, we're not run by Clear Channel or iHeart. We're run by a man named Chad, and it's a small business. And so I think that's great. Jim had said we will release our 89th episode of This Queer Book Saved My Life on Tuesday. So let me just say congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Ongoing wonderful podcast. I've listened. It is very thoughtful. I love it. Chuck also says, I have watched a few episodes here on 950. And he, just so you know, John, he's out east. So
thanks, Chuck. I appreciate that.
So that is really that's really cool. And we're, it's great to have you on. I'm going to ask one more question. We'll get back to Doctor Who, but what is probably the hardest thing, the transition from doing a weekend once a week sort of thing to going 5 days a week? What was the hardest transition for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think some folks were like, where are you going to find all the content to fill it? Content has never been a problem.
No.
When you're, I don't know the entire history in the United States of queer radio. I don't. But right now in the space, we're the only ones. And so I think when you're in your first 12 months, there's just a lot of experimentation that has to go on where you're trying to figure out, like, you do something for a few weeks and you go, is this working? Is this not working? Like, there's a lot of, am I missing something? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be missing something. You're like, I don't want to be missing a big story here, or bringing in a good guest that we should be talking to right now. So there's that level of, anxiety maybe that comes with being the only one in the space right now.
Sure.
And I feel like now that we're 12 months in, I'm starting to get a good sense of, this is the area, this is what the show is. And, we have, maybe not is, but we have a good foundation, I think, for it. I think we have all of the seeds are sprouting little seedlings, Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's going to grow over the next 12 months. Because I'm someone that likes to constantly dig and poke and experiment, with stuff. And I mean, I had a whole like Queer in the Cosmos essay series I was doing for about 10 weeks there. And that was really fun to do, but it got really overwhelming to write a, 1,500 word weekly radio essay. So that got dropped by the wayside.
That would be tough. But it gives you space, doesn't it? Because I would suspect that, doing it weekly, you might be, is this enough? Am I doing enough? Am I hitting the right areas? Now you're like, I have the breath to take, do as much. I mean, that's how I felt about what I do. And, I have authors come on and I'll tell them they're like 3 books and they're like, let's talk about all of them. I'm like, no, let's talk about one and we'll bring you back for the others. It does, we have time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. Once again, this is we have with us today Jim Parker, the host of the Gaily Show on AM 950 from 2 to 3 every day. Really appreciate you being on. Also, you can find the episodes on YouTube and Spotify. And John, what is the YouTube? Is just at the Gaily Show, right?
At the Gaily Show, yep.
At the Gaily Show. We're talking about Doctor Who, And as we are talking about all this, and I don't know if I'm going to sound enlightened or incredibly naive. It's going to be one or the other, okay? But one of the things that Doctor Who, as a fandom, did for me was to actually introduce me to the queer community, because
Tell me more.
there is a huge, especially when I got into it, when I started really going, like traveling to California and other places for conventions, really realized that Doctor Who was extraordinarily popular with the gay community. We had a lot of people who worked on it, especially in the 90s, when it was like the next wave of people, such as Russell T. Davis. He started, you know, like writing stuff in the 90s for Doctor Who, like books and stuff, and then of course went on in 2005 to be the executive producer and showrunner for the series. You know, this is all stuff that you know, I really got really introduced to this and made lifelong friends from that. And I, you know, I was trying all day to kind of think of what's the best way to put this question together. Do you feel, as a gay man, that Doctor Who, what you're watching, really speaks to your community?
I will say, because I was thinking about this, the impact of Doctor Who. There's something. I think the universe of Doctor Who is so amazing because you can find yourself located within it at some point throughout the entire series. Literally the 50 years, 40 years, 50 years that it's been on TV, 60.
I don't know exactly how long. I think it's like 63, but anyway, yeah.
But there you go. As a queer kid who didn't know any other queer people and who had no knowledge of his history, the idea of there being another person who was the only one of his kind and had two hearts and got to travel the stars. I mean, that just displaced, essentially, that a lot of that. I know a lot of people can read their own experiences into that as well, because that's the magic of Doctor Who. But that, even as an adult, when I was coming to it, it was speaking to my younger self and the creation of families of choice, right? The companion. And that the companion doesn't have to be a sexual partner, you know what I mean? Like that type of, there's other levels of intimacy that you can have as you meet people and then unfortunately let people go. I think the idea of regeneration, I mean, Madonna, I mean, how gay can you get, Madonna? I mean, she constantly does it. And I think there's a reason why the queer community gloms onto David Tennant. We are constantly regenerating ourselves. You know what I mean? We're constantly rethinking about who we are. And doing that in ways that we want to be doing that, and sometimes in ways we shouldn't have to be doing that, but you know, whatever. I think that for me is there's something about their story, the Doctor's story, that is timeless for a lot of us, but particularly if at any point in your life you're feeling like you are the only one, that you are displaced, that you don't have a connection to your history, that you might never have that connection to your history. And for folks who have been kicked out from their homes or estranged or, you know, in my case, disinherited, you know, that it gives you a sense of like, there's the Doctor.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Doctor right there. And the Doctor can have adventures, and the Doctor can know what's going on and can help people and do something with that pain and be a source of joy and still hold space for processing it, right? We've seen them processing that, you know, throughout the entire series of when it comes and it hits back, you know what I mean? The loss of the Doctor's home and the Time Lords and the TARDIS and all of that. So I think that to me is what I would say. And I'm sure there are like 70,000 other versions for queer people of what they see in Doctor Who. And I'm sure there's a course and at least 5 books written about it. But for me, I would say that's what I That's the meaning of it for me.
And I need to hit a break here in a second, but I think you really are onto something. I've heard many times, and I think even for myself in some way, and I think it goes beyond queer, beyond any kind of gender or sexuality, of the idea of like, especially I think in the time that I was watching the show, there is a certain amount of loneliness of people not finding people really who watch the show. You watch it and you can't find anyone else who watches it. And being a massive nerd growing up, and I still am, and got picked on and all that stuff. It's, sometimes what you turn to is the person who makes you feel the best. And for so many, I've heard this so many times through my journey with this show, people who had really dark times, really felt alone, really felt maybe even it's time to put an end to all of this, that just watching the show and the community around it saved them. And I think that's just amazing. I think it's just right on track with what you're saying there, 100%.
I have an episode that highlights that beautifully, but if you have to take a break, we can hit the break.
I run the show, John. Okay. I'll tell you when I take the break around here.
I'm so notorious for like walking right up to a break or just ignoring them and having to wait for the music. I would say for me, one of the episodes that really hits that home, I have a very fraught relationship as an Armenian American, half my family is Armenian, with the church. And so where a lot of folks feel solace in the church and they feel a sense of, wonder or majesty at it, it's been a sight of terror for me. And so when I saw the Weeping Angels episode, For the Love of Cher, that freaked me out. But it was also like, yeah, I know the terror of seeing that visualization. So I know that episode and that enemy, that villain wasn't that experience, but to suddenly see someone depicting, angels, these what normally we see are beautiful, architectural angels, to be a villain and to be creeping up on you the way that they are, and that have that sense of like, yeah, that was my experience of religion, where it was creeping up on you, and if you weren't watching it, it was gonna get you. So and I know other people could watch the episode and see other things of their lived experience in it for them, but that one, woo boy.
That's interesting.
I don't know who wrote that, Davies or Moffat, but
it was Moffat. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe there's something to that. That's very interesting. I wonder if maybe he had that in the back of his mind. I need to get a break in here. When we come back, let's continue this conversation. I'm loving this, by the way. I wish my show was 2 hours, but whatever. Folks, if you got questions, put them in the comments. We're talking about Doctor Who, we're talking about Console Room, and we're talking about The Gaily Show. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are. But now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had, made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We are going to see the return of C.L. Thomas joining us. We are going to be talking about more of Haunted Las Vegas. She was on sometime last year, and we were talking about some of the sites in Vegas where she lives. We're going to talk more about Haunted Las Vegas tomorrow. Wednesday, one question readings with psychic medium Refined Divine. If you have any questions about money, relationships, anything else, call in, put in the comments. It's a great night. Love to do so. Love to have her on. Thursday is a replay with Debbie Romero, as she's an experiential medium, and we're going to be talking about her program Transcend with Debbie. And then this Friday, we're going to be live from Council Room, which is always a lot of fun. We're going to have a live studio audience, and I think we're going to give away some tickets on Friday for some shows around town here, and that's going to be a lot of fun as well. So we're looking forward to that, and we're kind of kicking it all off with having this really fun Doctor Who discussion tonight with the host of the Gaily Show, John Parker. Once again, the Gaily Show runs every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3. And it's really worth checking out. So I hope that you do so. It's also available where you get your podcasts and everything else. Now, John, Chuck also added in the comments, based on what we were talking about the last segment, I was the only person in my current circle of friends that watched Doctor Who that I started my podcast to rewatch the series with those friends. And that's really interesting that, you bring people together. When I was young, I started watching when I was like 10 years old or something. Yeah, right. So, only
I
for
love that.
Only 15 years I've been watching it or something. Yeah, right. But none of my friends, like my school friends, liked it at all. And they would come over and I would make them watch it with me. And I mean, make them. And they were people stopped wanting to come over because they just knew, because I kept thinking, okay, this is going to be the
Doctor
one.
Who watch party.
Yeah, this is going to be the one that's going to make them just be like, oh, I see what you love about this. And, oh my gosh, I look back and I just kind of cringe because I'm still friends with a couple of them. I'm like, how? You're just forcing it on people. But that's the sad part, I guess, because my parents never understood either, so to speak. When the new series started up, they all loved it, So I was vindicated, years later. But
you got there first, though.
I got there first. I was the OG. Now I want to share Matt McNeil from the Matt McNeil Show 3 to 5 on the station. He ordered a Doctor Who calendar, and folks who are listening, I'm holding up a well-made calendar here of Doctor Who. He bought it. He wanted to get an official one, and they were all out. So he got one from Etsy. And first of all, I've never seen a calendar quite this size. It's kind of an odd shaped. And let's just say you always get what you pay for.
Does it open like a book?
It does open like a book. There you go. Your book calendar here. My favorite, though, because here you have a picture of, and most people may not notice this, you have a picture of the 11th Doctor, the Paul McGann 8th Doctor, and then it's David Tennant, but this is actually him as the 14th Doctor, not the 10th Doctor. So where that came from, that never happened to start with. Like I said, most people are going to be like, who cares? I do. Okay, I do. I'm a fan here. But my favorite, I don't know if you've seen this episode of Doctor Who, This is my favorite, John. And that is
Wait, your favorite episode or your favorite calendar photo?
my well, I mean, you may remember this episode. Let's see here. You know what's amazing is how when you're on the air and you have 12 pages and you cannot find the photo out of 12 simple
Live
pages.
radio.
It's amazing. My favorite episode is the one where the 11th Doctor met up with Sherlock and Dr. Watson. That never happened. That never happened, folks. It never happened. So this is, you know what? Both Matt and I were like, thank goodness that we could put out a better calendar than this for the.
Yes. I have to, I'm seeing in the chat here, and I am going to apologize on behalf of Russell T. Davies and Nkuti Gatwa, that Chuck says, how is Shares If I Could Turn Back Time not shown up in a Doctor Who episode? I'm officially apologizing on behalf of all of the gays in that series that has not happened, because if that is true, that is such an obvious oversight, and every queer on that should just be hanging their head in shame right now that has not happened.
I had never thought about that either until he put that in there. And it's just like, because I mean, the fact that you mentioned Cher at all was something that I didn't expect. But then that comment as well, that was.
You could have an entire episode around that one song, the time loop that could happen around that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And
Steve, Russ, figure it out.
Well, and here's the thing. We don't know the future of the series still. We know that this year there's going to be a special in December, and everyone's like, oh, Doctor Who's back starting December. I don't think that's the case. I think this is it. I really do think this is.
Oh, you do?
I do. I think that what's going to happen is that it doesn't mean that it's necessarily over, but I think that and this is not official, folks. So this is not like this is just my opinion, that you're going to have this special to kind of tie up some of the loose ends from since Russell took over again. And I think it's going to just kind of sit until they can find another avenue to start making new episodes. And is it just going to be BBC? Are they going to want to go to another streamer because it didn't work with Disney? So, I mean, that's just my thought on it, at least. I don't know. We'll see.
So 21 years, and then, I mean, the Doctor is timeless. I know it's probably cliche to say that, but part of me, like when you first said that, I was like, oh, no. And then part of me was like, oh, the Doctor ain't going nowhere. Like, give it 5 or 7 years, and someone's gonna come around with a vision, and we're gonna have the Doctor will be back. Like, there's no way that we can go for long without having the Doctor on our television screens. It's just, they will literally have to destroy television to keep Doctor Who off the air.
I believe that Doctor Who, the character, the universe, all that is now in the echelons of a Sherlock Holmes, a Star Trek. You know,
absolutely.
There will always be something. It may be a couple years between iterations, but there will always be something. Are you playing with your sonic screwdrivers again?
Maybe.
No,
I just had a really fun thought of, like, years and years and years from now, when, whatever happens to human civilization, if aliens show up and all they find is like Doctor Who paraphernalia, and they're like, we've got to find this Doctor.
Right, exactly.
Look what everything he did for the Earth and the universe. We have to go find him.
They use some kind of 3D printer to create human life, and they actually create David Tennant again or something like that. Yeah. Chuck is like, tomorrow on the internet, Greg Bakun confirms Doctor Who's fate. Yeah, no one's ever listened to me before. I don't think tomorrow is going to be any different. So now, have you ever been, because we have about 3 minutes left. Have you ever been to a Doctor Who convention?
I haven't, and I'm really bummed about this weekend. I'm going to be up north.
Yeah, I mean, I've only told you about it for the last 2
I know.
weeks, but, it's one of these days, though, hopefully one of these years, you get out to it, because it is a lot of fun. It is a very it's, when I say small convention, I don't mean it necessarily in size, but it's very friendly and it's accessible. It's not this massive convention where there's billions of people all around. It's like a boutique convention in a sense, if that makes any sense. It's just really nice. So
Would it surprise you to know that sometimes I'm like uncomfortable in crowds?
I'm color me surprised. I never would have guessed that. So
That I like to be in the basement of a building in front of a microphone, hidden with like 2 other people around me.
yeah, right, exactly. I did a Zoom call with a potential sponsor, and they just said to me, because I did it from my office, and they said, "Are you like recreating your office to look like the Cold War?" And it's like, yeah, because it's all just cinder blocks behind me, and that's the way it is, Let's see
It's
here.
like a TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside.
it's
They just can't see it from the camera.
And I have my police box, my TARDIS in my office, as well as a Dalek. So I'm all
perfect.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, as we're wrapping up here, you're gonna be you got anything on the show this week that you want to promote?
Well, it's all politics, so
It is.
I will say that we have so this Wednesday is Joe Reber Kenny, the White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. He joins us bi-weekly on Wednesday afternoons, so he'll be back with us this Wednesday. And as you can imagine, if you're following the news, a lot's happening out of DC right now, and this guy is literally in the Oval. Was inside the Supreme Court last week hearing oral arguments in a case. So we're very, very lucky to have Joe joining us bi-weekly, and so I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has got to share with us, because as you can imagine, there's a lot.
There's a lot going on, and you can hear John. He's been doing a lot of other programs on AM 950 coming in, like Stephanie Miller, the Tom Hartman Show, Gaily, and GhostBox Radio. You can catch the Gaily Show Monday through Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. John, what a great conversation. Thank you so very much for taking the time and joining me tonight.
Thank you, Greg. Such a joy. Such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Haunted Las Vegas. We'll see you then. Everyone, have a great night.